Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, is currently facing a financial and personal storm that would break even the strongest of spirits, with new reports revealing a mountain of debt and a business in crisis, just as she prepares to be uprooted from her longtime home at Royal Lodge. Imagine the weight of facing hundreds of thousands of pounds in unpaid bills, while the very roof over your head is being pulled away by the crown itself. Hello, dear viewers, and thank you for joining us today as we delve into a story of resilience, royal duty, and the harsh realities of life on the periphery of the British throne. Before we dive into the intricate details of this developing situation, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the lives of the royal family. The woman the world affectionately knows as Fergie has always been a figure of great interest. A whirlwind of energy who married into the world's most famous family, only to find herself navigating a path fraught with public scrutiny and private struggle. At 66 years of age, a time when many are looking forward to the quiet comforts of retirement and the joy of their grandchildren, Sarah Ferguson is instead staring down a fresh series of professional and personal blows that have left insiders claiming she is in a very bad way. The core of this latest distress lies in the cold, hard numbers filed with Companies House, revealing the precarious state of her private business venture, Ginger & Moss. Ginger & Moss was supposed to be a cornerstone of Sarah's financial independence, a private firm through which she aimed to market and sell a curated selection of luxury teas and exquisite jewelry. It was a venture born of hope and the Duchess's undeniable flair for branding and lifestyle entrepreneurship. However, the latest financial disclosures have painted a much bleaker picture than anyone anticipated. According to a detailed report by the Daily Mail, the accounts for Ginger & Moss disclose a staggering £363,000 worth of outstanding bills. When one looks at the balance sheet, the situation becomes even more concerning. The firm reports a deficit in capital and reserves amounting to £321,000. This is despite the company holding approximately £43,000 in assets. To understand the trajectory of this financial decline, we must look at the year-on-year data. For the period ending in March 2025, the deficit has actually widened. In 2024, the reported deficit stood at £304,000. This increase suggests that rather than finding its footing, the business is sinking deeper into the red, creating a financial quagmire for the Duchess at a time when her personal circumstances are already under immense pressure. The dream of a flourishing tea and jewelry empire seems to be slipping through her fingers, replaced by the grim reality of insolvency reports and mounting liabilities. The roots of these financial troubles may be linked to the company's structural history and its associations. Ginger & Moss is co-owned with a firm known as Gate Ventures plc. To say that Gate Ventures has had a troubled history would be an understatement. The company went into administration back in 2020, leaving behind a trail of debt totaling a massive £24 million. This association has cast a long shadow over Sarah's business interests. Even now, years after Gate Ventures collapsed, a loan to Ginger & Moss remains outstanding. The latest insolvency reports indicate that liquidators are still actively pursuing this debt. The language used by the liquidators in their official reports is telling. They have stated that discussions have been ongoing during the review period regarding this outstanding loan. While the tone is professional, the intent is clear. They remain hopeful of making a substantial recovery for the estate of the failed Gate Ventures. For Sarah, this means the threat of legal and financial recovery actions continues to loom over her, adding a layer of persistent stress to her daily life. It is a far cry from the serene image of a royal duchess sipping tea. It is the reality of a businesswoman caught in the gears of corporate liquidation. This financial crisis does not exist in a vacuum. It is happening against the backdrop of a seismic shift in Sarah's living arrangements and her status within the royal hierarchy. For years, Sarah has shared the sprawling and historic Royal Lodge in Windsor Great Park with her former husband, Prince Andrew. Despite their divorce decades ago, the pair have maintained a famously close relationship, often described as the happiest divorced couple in the world. Royal Lodge has been their sanctuary, a 30-room mansion that provided a sense of stability and continuity for their daughters, Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. However, the winds of change blowing from Buckingham Palace have reached the gates of Windsor. King Charles III, in his effort to modernize and slim down the monarchy, has been scrutinizing the costs associated with non-working royals and the vast estates they inhabit. The king has reportedly been putting significant pressure on the Duke and Duchess of York to vacate Royal Lodge. The reasons are multifaceted, ranging from the high cost of security and maintenance to the king's desire to reallocate royal properties. For Sarah, the prospect of moving out is not just about losing a house. It is about losing the home that has been the center of her world for 20 years. The news of the impending move has been a bitter pill to swallow. Reports suggest that the Duchess is facing this fresh blow with a heavy heart, particularly coming on the heels of the loss of her official royal titles and the formal distancing from the firm that followed her divorce and subsequent scandals. While she has always worked hard to maintain a positive public persona, the cumulative weight of these events is said to be taking a toll. An insider speaking to The Telegraph described her current state in stark terms, saying, "She's in a very bad way." This source, someone close to the situation, highlighted the emotional exhaustion that comes from being constantly under fire, both financially and socially. Yet, those who know Sarah Ferguson also know that she is a woman of remarkable resilience. The same source who described her as being in a bad way also noted her characteristic determination, adding, "But she'll dust herself down and attempt to reinvent herself again somehow." This has been the pattern of Sarah's life. She is a woman who has experienced the highest peaks of royal life and the lowest troughs of public disgrace, yet she has always found a way to dust herself down. Whether it was through her successful children's books, her role as a spokesperson for Weight Watchers, or her various media appearances, she has a history of turning adversity into a new opportunity. But reinvention at 66 is a different challenge than reinvention in one's 30s or 40s. The financial landscape is more complex, the public eye is perhaps more cynical, and the physical and emotional energy required to start over is harder to summon. Furthermore, Sarah has recently faced significant health challenges, having been diagnosed with and treated for both breast cancer and skin cancer within a very short period. These health scares would be enough to flatten anyone, yet she has used her platform to raise awareness and encourage others to get checked. Her bravery in the face of illness has earned her a great deal of respect, but it also underscores the fragility of her current situation. The financial details of Ginger and Moss are particularly poignant because they represent a failed attempt at self-sufficiency. For a woman who has often been criticized for her reliance on the royal family or wealthy friends, this business was meant to be her own. The fact that it is now burdened with £363,000 in bills and a growing deficit is a personal failure that must hurt deeply. It raises questions about the advice she has received and the viability of the luxury market she was trying to enter. In a world where the cost of living is a concern for everyone, perhaps the market for high-end royal-branded teas and jewelry was simply too niche or too saturated. As we look at the figures, the $321,000 deficit, the $24 million collapse of her partner firm, the $363,000 in bills, we see more than just numbers on a page. We see the struggle of a woman trying to maintain a lifestyle and a legacy that is increasingly at odds with her actual financial reality. The liquidators' hope for a substantial recovery from Ginger and Moss suggests that the Duchess may be required to settle these debts personally or see the company folded entirely, which would be another public embarrassment. The situation at Royal Lodge adds a layer of urgency to these financial woes. If she and Prince Andrew are forced to move to a smaller, more modest property, such as Frogmore Cottage, which has been suggested as a potential new home, the transition will be a stark reminder of their reduced status. While Frogmore is by no means a shack, it is a significant step down from the grandeur of Royal Lodge. For Sarah, who has spent decades trying to keep the York family at the heart of royal life, this physical relocation symbolizes a broader marginalization. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, Sarah's devoted daughters, are undoubtedly watching this situation with great concern. Both women have built their own lives, careers, and families, but they have always remained fiercely loyal to their mother. They have seen her through her highest highs and lowest lows, and this current chapter is likely one of the most difficult they have witnessed. The bad way the Duchess finds herself in will surely be felt by the entire family, who must now navigate the complexities of their father's controversies and their mother's financial instability. The sources' comment about Sarah attempting to reinvent herself again somehow suggests that we haven't seen the last of the Duchess of York. She is a survivor by nature. Perhaps she will return to writing, a field where she has seen genuine success with her historical romance novels and children's literature. Or perhaps she will find a new niche in the world of podcasting or television, where her warmth and candid nature often resonate with audiences. However, the shadow of the Ginger and Moss debt will follow her until it is resolved. The broader implications for the royal family are also significant. King Charles's approach to the York problem is a clear indication of how he intends to rule. He is prioritizing the efficiency and reputation of the monarchy over the personal comforts of his extended family. While this may be necessary for the long-term survival of the institution, it creates a harsh environment for those like Sarah, who found themselves protected under the reign of the late Queen Elizabeth II. The Queen was known to have a great deal of affection for Sarah, often inviting her to stay at Balmoral even after the divorce, providing a buffer that no longer exists. Without that royal shield, Sarah is facing the full force of commercial reality and public opinion. The Daily Mail and the Telegraph, by bringing these financial details to light, have put the Duchess in a position where she must address these issues head-on. There is no longer any room for the ambiguity that often surrounds royal finances. The company's house filings are public record, and they tell a story of a business in distress. As we reflect on Sarah Ferguson's journey, we see a woman who has lived a life of extraordinary contrasts. She has been a royal highness and a private citizen, a millionaire and a debtor, a fashion icon, and a subject of ridicule. Through it all, she has maintained a sense of Ferginess, that irrepressible spirit that makes her both polarizing and deeply human. This latest fresh blow is perhaps one of the most challenging she has faced, because it combines financial failure with the loss of her home and a sense of emotional exhaustion. The question now is, what comes next for the Duchess of York? Will she be able to settle the debts of Ginger and Moss and move forward with a new project? Will the move from Royal Lodge be the catalyst for a more quiet, private life? Or will it spark a new era of public activity as she works to rebuild her finances? The world will be watching closely as she navigates this difficult transition. Her story serves as a reminder that even behind the gilded gates of royal residences, life can be messy, complicated, and fraught with the same financial anxieties that many people face. The scale might be different, but the stress of debt and the fear of losing one's home are universal. Sarah Ferguson's ability to dust herself down has become her trademark, and many will be rooting for her to find her footing once again. We must also consider the role of the liquidators and the ongoing discussions regarding the outstanding loan. This is not a situation that will be resolved overnight. The legal processes involved in administration and liquidation are slow and meticulous. As the liquidators strive for a substantial recovery, the Duchess will likely remain under a cloud of financial uncertainty for some time. This uncertainty is perhaps the most draining aspect of all, preventing her from fully moving forward with any new ventures. In the midst of all this, Sarah's commitment to her charitable work continues. She has often said that her work with children and her health advocacy give her a sense of purpose that transcends her personal troubles. Perhaps it is this focus on others that will ultimately help her find the strength to reinvent herself once again. The Duchess has a unique ability to connect with people on an emotional level, and that remains her greatest asset. As we conclude this deep dive into the current state of Sarah Ferguson's affairs, it is clear that she is at a crossroads. The combination of the Ginger and Moss financial reports, the impending departure from Royal Lodge, and the personal toll these events have taken marks a significant turning point in her life. Whether she can turn this bad way into a new beginning remains to be seen. But if history is any guide, the Duchess of York will not go down without a fight. What are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think the king is being too harsh on the Yorks? Or is it time for them to become fully independent? How do you think Sarah should go about her next reinvention? We would love to hear your opinions in the comments section below. Your insights and discussions are what make this community so vibrant. If you found this video informative and engaging, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might be interested in the latest royal developments. It helps our channel grow and allows us to continue bringing you in-depth coverage of the stories that matter. Thank you for spending your time with us today. We know there are many places you could go for your news, and we truly appreciate your loyalty to our channel. Stay tuned for more updates as this story continues to unfold. We will be here to bring you the latest facts, analysis, and insights into the lives of the British royal family. Before you go, don't forget to check out our other videos on the royal family, where we explore everything from the king's health to the future of the younger generation of royals. There is always something new to discover in the world of the monarchy. Once again, thank you for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Take care, and goodbye for now. As we look further into the specifics of the Ginger and Moss financial situation, it's important to understand the broader context of Sarah Ferguson's business history. This is not the first time the Duchess has found herself in a precarious financial position. In the early 1990s, following her separation from Prince Andrew, it was reported that she had accumulated significant debts, some estimates suggesting they were in the millions. At that time, she famously worked her way out of those debts through a series of high-profile commercial deals, most notably her long-standing partnership with Weight Watchers and her Budgie the Little Helicopter book series. This history of financial booms and busts is a key part of the Sarah Ferguson narrative. It shows a woman who is not afraid to take risks, but who perhaps lacks the steady hand or the conservative advice needed to maintain long-term financial stability. Ginger and Moss was intended to be a more refined, perhaps more royal-adjacent business, focusing on the quintessentially British products of tea and jewelry. The failure of this venture to gain traction, as evidenced by the $363,000 in bills, suggests a disconnect between the brand's vision and the market's reality. The involvement of Gate Ventures plc is another critical piece of the puzzle. When Sarah entered into this partnership, Gate Ventures was seen as a rising player in the investment world, with interests in media and entertainment. However, its spectacular collapse in 2020, owing $24 million, was a major red flag. The fact that Ginger and Moss is still entangled in the aftermath of that collapse, with liquidators looking for a substantial recovery, indicates that the Duchess's business interests were tied to a very unstable foundation. This association has undoubtedly hampered the company's ability to attract new investment or to operate with the necessary capital. The deficit of $321,000, which has increased from the previous year, is particularly concerning because it indicates that the company's expenses are consistently outstripping its income. For a private firm of this size, such a deficit is difficult to sustain without constant infusions of cash. With only $43,000 in assets, there is very little buffer to protect the company from its creditors. This is the fresh blow that the reports refer to. The realization that the business is not just struggling, but is in a state of chronic decline. The emotional impact of these financial struggles cannot be overstated. At 66, the Duchess is at an age where the reinvention the source mentions becomes more daunting. The physical toll of her recent cancer treatments, combined with the stress of the Royal Lodge situation, creates a perfect storm of adversity. When the insider says she is in a very bad way, they are likely referring to this cumulative effect. It's not just about the money, it's about the loss of security, the loss of status, and the sheer exhaustion of having to start again for what must feel like the 100th time. The Royal Lodge situation is particularly symbolic. For Sarah, the house has been more than just a residence. It has been a base of operations and a symbol of her enduring connection to the royal family. Living there with Prince Andrew allowed her to maintain a certain level of royal lifestyle that would be impossible to replicate elsewhere on her own income. The pressure from King Charles to move out is a clear signal that this era is coming to an end. The king's slimmed-down approach is not just about numbers, it's about the image of the monarchy. Having a non-working royal family living in a 30-room mansion at the taxpayers' or the crown's expense is increasingly difficult to justify in modern Britain. The transition to a new, smaller home will require a significant adjustment. It will likely mean a reduction in staff, a smaller space for hosting, and a more modest public profile. For someone like Sarah, who thrives on activity and social engagement, this could be a difficult transition. However, it could also be an opportunity for a fresh start, a chance to simplify her life and focus on what truly matters to her, such as her family and her charitable work. Her daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, will undoubtedly be her greatest source of support during this time. Both princesses have shown great maturity and poise in handling their own roles within the family, and they have always been protective of their mother. They are likely involved in helping her navigate the practicalities of the move and the complexities of her business affairs. The strength of the York family unit has always been one of their most defining characteristics, and it will be tested now more than ever. The public's perception of Sarah Ferguson remains complex. There are those who admire her resilience and her down-to-earth nature, seeing her as a victim of a rigid royal system. Others are more critical, viewing her financial troubles as the result of poor judgment and a refusal to live within her means. This latest news will likely reinforce both of these views. However, regardless of one's opinion of her, it is hard not to feel a sense of empathy for someone facing such a significant series of setbacks at this stage of their life. The Liquidators' ongoing review of Ginger and Moss will be the next major milestone in this story. If they are able to recover the outstanding loan, it could provide some relief, but it could also mean more legal and financial pressure for the Duchess. The outcome of these discussions will determine the future of the company and, to some extent, Sarah's financial reputation. In the meantime, the Duchess will likely continue with her public engagements and her writing. She has a book tour scheduled and various appearances in the pipeline. These activities provide her with a much-needed income and a way to stay connected with her audience. Her ability to maintain a positive and professional front despite her personal struggles is a testament to her professionalism and her determination to provide for herself. As we wrap up this extensive look at the latest developments in the life of Sarah Ferguson, we are reminded of the precarious nature of life on the edges of royalty. The glamour and privilege are often accompanied by intense scrutiny and a lack of true financial security. For the Duchess of York, the bad way she currently finds herself in is a challenge of the highest order. But as her history shows, she is a woman who should never be counted out. What do you think Sarah's next move should be? Should she focus on her writing, or is there another field where she could excel? And what about the Royal Lodge? Should the king allow her and Andrew to stay? Or is he right to insist on a move? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. We value your perspective and look forward to a lively discussion. Don't forget to like this video if you found it insightful and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us continue to produce high-quality content about the royal family and the stories that shape our world. Thank you once again for watching. We appreciate your engagement and your interest in our channel. Stay tuned for our next video, where we will bring you more news and analysis from the heart of the British monarchy. Until then, take care and have a wonderful day. The saga of the Duchess of York is a captivating blend of high-stakes drama and human vulnerability. It's a story that resonates because it touches on themes we all understand: the desire for independence, the pain of loss, and the incredible strength it takes to keep going when things get tough. Sarah Ferguson has spent a lifetime in the public eye, and she has handled the spotlight with a unique mixture of grace and grit. This current fresh blow is just the latest hurdle in a life that has been full of them. As we look at the numbers again, the $363,000 in bills, the $321,000 deficit, we see the tangible evidence of a dream that didn't quite come true. Ginger and Moss was meant to be a success story, a testament to Sarah's business acumen. Instead, it has become a source of stress and a subject of tabloid headlines. But perhaps in the grand scheme of things, this failure will lead to something better. Perhaps it will force a simplification and a refocusing that will ultimately bring the Duchess more peace and stability. The move from Royal Lodge, while painful, could also be seen in this light. A smaller home, a simpler life, and a focus on the things that truly bring joy, like her grandchildren, could be exactly what she needs at this stage of her life. The Duchess has always been a woman of great heart, and that heart is best served when she is surrounded by her loved ones, away from the pressures of maintaining a grand estate and a failing business empire. We will be here to chronicle whatever comes next for Sarah Ferguson, whether it's a successful new book, a new charitable endeavor, or simply a quiet transition to a new home. We will bring you the story with the respect and detail it deserves. Thank you for being part of our community and for following this journey with us. Before we sign off, a final reminder to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We have a lot of exciting content coming up, and we don't want you to miss a thing. From royal history to the latest news, we are your go-to source for all things related to the British royal family. Thank you for watching, and as always, we look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Your feedback is incredibly important to us, and we'd love hearing your thoughts on these complex and fascinating stories. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. The resilience of Sarah Ferguson is truly something to behold. Even as she faces these financial and personal trials, she continues to show up, to work, and to represent the causes she believes in. It is this spirit that has kept her in the public's affections for nearly 40 years. No matter what the company's house filings say, or what the king decides about Royal Lodge, the Duchess of York remains a central figure in the royal narrative, a woman who has lived life on her own terms, for better or for worse. In the coming months, we will likely see the resolution of the Ginger and Moss situation and the final details of the move from Royal Lodge. These will be significant moments not just for Sarah but for the entire York family. We will be here to provide the context and the analysis you need to understand these developments. Thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure sharing this story with you. We hope you found it informative and that it gave you a deeper understanding of the challenges facing the Duchess of York. Until next time, thank you for being a loyal viewer of our channel. Goodbye. As we reach the conclusion of our script, it's worth noting the specific dates and figures one last time to ensure the full picture is clear. The deficit for Ginger and Moss for the year to March 2025 is an increase on the $304,000 reported in 2024. This trend is what has caused so much concern among financial analysts and royal observers alike. The $363,000 in bills and the $43,000 in assets create a stark financial reality that cannot be ignored. And with the shadow of Gate Ventures plc and its $24 million collapse still lingering, the path forward for Ginger and Moss is fraught with difficulty. Yet, as the source told The Telegraph, Sarah will dust herself down. This phrase perfectly captures the essence of the Duchess. She is a fighter, a woman who has navigated the complexities of royal life with a unique and enduring spirit. Whatever the future holds, we can be sure that Sarah Ferguson will face it with her characteristic energy and determination. To truly understand the gravity of the Royal Lodge situation, we must look at the history of the property itself. Royal Lodge has been a cornerstone of the Windsor estate for centuries. It was the preferred residence of the Queen Mother, and its sprawling gardens and grand interiors have hosted generations of royal gatherings. For Prince Andrew, who signed a 75-year lease on the property in 2003, it represents his last remaining vestige of royal status. However, the lease comes with strings attached, specifically the obligation to maintain the property to a high standard. Reports have suggested that the house is in need of significant repairs, with estimates reaching as high as $7 million. If Andrew cannot afford these repairs, he may be in breach of his lease, giving the king a legal avenue to reclaim the property. For Sarah, this adds another layer of complexity. She is not a party to the lease, but she has invested heavily in making the house a home. The prospect of being forced out because of a lack of funds for maintenance is a bitter irony, given her recent business failures. It highlights the precarious nature of grace and favor residences, where one's stay is always at the discretion of the reigning monarch. The king's decision to cut the $3 million a year private security detail for Royal Lodge is perhaps the most significant move yet. Without this security, the property becomes a liability rather than a sanctuary. It's a clear message that the days of taxpayer-funded or crown-funded protection for non-working royals are over. This siege of Royal Lodge, as some tabloids have dubbed it, is a high-stakes game of royal chess with Sarah and Andrew caught in the middle. But what about the Ginger and Moss brand itself? What was the vision? Sarah aimed to tap into the global fascination with British heritage. The teas were meant to be sourced from the finest estates, and the jewelry was designed to reflect her personal style: bold, colorful, and unashamedly opulent. However, the luxury market is notoriously difficult to break into, especially without the backing of a major fashion house or a massive marketing budget. The failure of the business to turn a profit suggests that the Fergie name alone was not enough to overcome the economic headwinds of the post-pandemic world. Furthermore, the connection to Gate Ventures plc was a critical error in judgment. When celebrity-led businesses partner with investment firms that lack stability, the results are often disastrous. The liquidator's pursuit of the outstanding loan is a reminder that in the world of high finance, there are no royal exemptions. Sarah is being treated as any other business owner would be, and the scrutiny is relentless. In the face of all this, Sarah's daughters, Beatrice and Eugenie, have become her rocks. They are often seen with her at public events, providing a visible sign of family unity. Beatrice, in particular, has taken on a more prominent role within the royal fold, often acting as a bridge between the Yorks and the rest of the family. Her marriage to Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi has also brought a new level of stability and international connection to the family. Eugenie, meanwhile, has found success in the art world and has used her platform to advocate for environmental causes. Both women have shown that it is possible to maintain a royal connection while building independent lives, a lesson that their mother is now having to learn the hard way. Public perception of the Duchess remains a fascinating study in contradictions. In the United States, she is often viewed with great affection, seen as a real person who has struggled and survived. Her appearances on talk shows and her work as a global ambassador for various brands have been well received. In the UK, however, the press is often more critical, focusing on her financial missteps and her proximity to Prince Andrew's controversies. This transatlantic divide in her reputation is something she has navigated for years, often finding more success and support abroad than at home. As she approaches her late 60s, the question of what reinvention looks like becomes even more pressing. Some have suggested she might lean into the world of digital media, perhaps launching a podcast or a YouTube channel of her own, where she can speak directly to her audience without the filter of the traditional press. Her historical novels, such as Her Heart for a Compass, have shown she has a talent for storytelling and a loyal readership. Perhaps a full-time career as an author is the path to the financial independence she so desperately craves. The role of the late Queen Elizabeth II cannot be forgotten in this narrative. The Queen was a stabilizing force for the Yorks, a mother-in-law who valued loyalty and family above all else. Her death removed the royal shield that had protected Sarah for decades. King Charles, while he surely has affection for his brother and sister-in-law, is operating with a different set of priorities. He is looking at the long-term survival of the monarchy in a world that is increasingly skeptical of inherited privilege. In this new era, there is less room for the fringe members of the family to live in grand estates at the crown's expense. The potential move to Frogmore Cottage is a perfect example of this new reality. Once the home of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Frogmore is a beautiful property, but it is much smaller and more contained than Royal Lodge. It would represent a significant downsizing for Sarah and Andrew, both in terms of physical space and social standing. Yet, it could also be a chance for them to live more within their means, and to step away from the constant pressure of maintaining a 30-room mansion. As we wrap up this truly comprehensive look at Sarah Ferguson's current situation, we are left with a picture of a woman at a profound crossroads. The $363,000 in debt, the $321,000 business deficit, and the impending move from Royal Lodge are all part of a larger story of transition. It is the end of one era and the uncertain beginning of another. But if there is one thing we know about the Duchess of York, it is that she is a survivor. She has a unique ability to find hope in the midst of hardship and to turn a bad way into a new opportunity. What do you think is the most important lesson from Sarah's story? Is it about the dangers of mixing royalty and business, or is it about the importance of family resilience? And how do you see the York brand evolving in the years to come? We look forward to your thoughts in the comments. Thank you once again for your incredible support of our channel. We are committed to bringing you the most detailed and insightful coverage of the royal family, and your engagement is what makes it all possible. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth analysis. Thank you for watching, and as always, we look forward to hearing from you in the comments. Your feedback is incredibly important to us, and we love hearing your thoughts on these complex and fascinating stories. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next video. The resilience of Sarah Ferguson is truly something to behold. Even as she faces these financial and personal trials, she continues to show up, to work, and to represent the causes she believes in. It is this spirit that has kept her in the public's affections for nearly 40 years. No matter what the company's house filings say, or what the king decides about Royal Lodge, the Duchess of York remains a central figure in the royal narrative. A woman who has lived life on her own terms, for better or for worse. In the coming months, we will likely see the resolution of the Ginger and Moss situation, and the final details of the move from Royal Lodge. These will be significant moments, not just for Sarah, but for the entire York family. We will be here to provide the context and the analysis you need to understand these developments. Thank you for your time today. It's been a pleasure sharing this story with you. We hope you found it informative and that it gave you a deeper understanding of the challenges facing the Duchess of York. Until next time, thank you for being a loyal viewer of our channel. Goodbye. As we reach the final conclusion of our script, it's worth noting the specific dates and figures one last time to ensure the full picture is clear. The deficit for Ginger and Moss for the year to March 2025 is an increase on the $304,000 reported in 2024. This trend is what has caused so much concern among financial analysts and royal observers alike. The $363,000 in bills and the $43,000 in assets create a stark financial reality that cannot be ignored. And with the shadow of Gate Ventures plc and its $24 million collapse still lingering, the path forward for Ginger and Moss is fraught with difficulty. Yet, as the source told the Telegraph, Sarah will dust herself down. This phrase perfectly captures the essence of the Duchess. She is a fighter, a woman who has navigated the complexities of royal life with a unique and enduring spirit. Whatever the future holds, we can be sure that Sarah Ferguson will face it with her characteristic energy and determination. Thank you once again for joining us for this in-depth look at the life and challenges of Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York. Your support and engagement mean the world to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video. Have a wonderful day.